Welcome back. Now, a recent report has revealed that many banks and market makers using the currency market use inefficient processes within transaction settlements, sometimes taking up to 2 days. As a market that also traditionally favours larger players, what are the ethical issues surrounding the market, and how can players execute fair trades? Well, to discuss this, we're joined by Paul Hayward, the Managing Director for OANDA Middle East. Welcome to the show today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, in terms of ethics and transparency within the Forex market, particularly in this region, what challenges still remain?
Well, in terms of the foreign exchange market as a whole, I think the real issue is to do with transparency and fairness. At OANDA, we've always sought to provide our clients with a low-cost, transparent, very fair and open method of trading. We achieve this by using technology to create efficiencies so that our clients can trade on prices which are extremely tight. And when I talk about prices, I'm talking about the spreads that exist between where a customer can sell and where a customer can buy.
Right.
And they are allowed then also to trade those on a 24-hour, 7-day basis. So they have complete choice and in any size they wish, with no commissions, no fees or no charges. And this is in completely stark contrast to many providers that exist out there that charge much wider spreads in order to pay, potentially to pay middlemen and to pay people who basically within that spread. And so, as far as we're concerned, it's very, very important that for the clients to get a fair deal, they're able to trade on, the tightest possible spreads possible.
Definitely. So in terms of, there are these recent reports that have come out as well saying that banks use inefficient processes. Tell us about some of the new technology on offer as well to avoid that.
Well, it's certainly true that banks use antiquated processes and technology. Some of it's 20 or 30 years old. And so unavoidably the client will get a raw deal as far as that's concerned. For some years now it's been possible for technology to provide much better processes, much more efficiencies that allow us to be able now to provide the ability to trade, for example, at peak times we can do up to 1.5 million trades a day, which is much larger than any bank will be able to do. And we can provide spreads which are significantly tighter because our costs to process those transactions are simply pennies and cents, whereas a bank it will cost them per transaction a great deal more.
Right. So in terms of this region, what sort of market share have you sort of got here at the moment?
Well, the main market share that we seek to look into is mainly through the institutional market, the financial institutions, the banks, because we believe that's a market that is underserviced and where we can provide a great deal of benefit.
Yeah.
We also, of course, are providers of foreign exchange to the wider market as a whole, where we believe we have a great deal of experience, and our technology allows literally anybody to be able to access the foreign exchange market now.
So in terms of recent currency introductions into the region as well, what's proving to be most popular?
In terms of the currencies themselves?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, well, certainly without a doubt, the highest volume and the most activity is traded through the euro-dollar.
Right.
OANDA, for example, probably about 50% of the volume we do on a daily basis is in the euro. We do significant volumes also in currencies like the Japanese yen, British pound, and Swiss franc. But I would also say, to look out for things like the Australian dollar and the Canadian dollar in the future, whose fortunes are very closely linked to the commodities market. Okay. And they've been trending very well this year. So I would expect to see an increase in volumes in those currencies too. So
definitely look out for those. Definitely.
Indeed.
So in terms of the investor, what sort of investor is most active today as well?
Well, it's very difficult to categorise between the types of investor that exist out there, but certainly I would say the overall market is still very dominated by the large banks, the financial institutions, and the large corporations and hedge funds. Are all significant players in the foreign exchange market. But recent statistics have shown that there is now, I think, something like a 48% increase in foreign exchange volume over the last 3 years, and a huge part of that increase, I think, has been due mainly to the entrance of the retail foreign exchange investor, who's becoming a significant part of the business now. And so, that's a trend that we expect to continue as we go forward certainly in the next few years.
Definitely. So what sort of trading activity are we seeing for this region in particular compared to other sort of major financial hubs as well?
Well, the trading activity in this region, I guess, would be broadly the same as it would be in other areas, but perhaps on a smaller scale. I mean, certainly you've got to bear in mind that this is an international hub. There's a lot of companies here, for example, who have international foreign exchange exposures. So there's a great deal of requirement for currency risk exposure and mitigating the risk involved in trading currencies on a daily basis. But the more significant growth area, as far as that is concerned, is really in the investment side of foreign exchange. People trading foreign currencies to seek a higher return, to compete perhaps with the more traditional markets such as the equity markets and the fixed income markets. And certainly, it's our hope and our goal that foreign exchange certainly fits well into be the third major asset classes where it justifiably should be.
Definitely, because that's what I was going to ask as well for the final question is what are your sort of expectations for 2011 then? What can we sort of look forward to?
Well, certainly, seeing as we've come on the back of a well publicised financial crisis over the last couple of years. We're now seeing volumes get back to levels that we saw before the financial crisis, and they are increasing very much on a sort of exponential basis year by year. So I think what we'll see for 2011 is further growth. I think that what we hope to see is obviously the world economy improve, and this region, of course, tends to hang on the coattails of what goes on in the rest of the world. So we're certainly, from this year, has been very encouraging. We hope to crystallise the routes we put into place, and you look forward to a very decent 2011.
Well, hopefully some positive growth there for next year, definitely.
We hope so, yes.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us. That's all we've got time for. Thanks
a pleasure.
A lot.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, that's it from the business desk. You can write to us, though, at ib@city7tv.com. Up next, Shadab Munshi is back with the news.